Next segment here in Obsession Perspectives, one of my oldest friends, the best coach I know. So, short pitch, nobody in here I don't think has done coaching with Nick. But like people come to me and they're like, okay, how do I get better with girls? The very first thing I would say is work with Nick. He has a magical way of transforming men from wherever they are to these super alpha studs in a weekend. And I know that sounds like a sales pitch, but if you read his testimonials and you hear from the guys and you work from him, well, it's borne out in the reality of the results he gets. So I have nothing but respect for Nick, and especially as a coach. I wouldn't even think to try to do what he does. But anyway, with that as an introduction, Nick is going to talk about sexuality, right?
Being sexual.
You kind of are decent at that, right?
Not bad.
All right.
I've heard.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Cheers.
All right, here's Nick.
Whew. We can round of applause. It's okay. Yeah. Better. Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, so, as Christian said, I'm here to talk with you guys about getting sexual, sexuality. And the reason why I want to talk about it, and the reason why I'm so excited to talk with you, is because it's one of the most common reasons that guys come to me to work with me. I mean, yeah, sometimes they want to approach better and get more comfortable approaching everyone. Sometimes their conversations are kind of boring and they don't really go anywhere. And as you've seen already today, the stuff Christian's talked about has really helped to make that not the case, right? But still, by and large, the most common thing I get asked about, getting sexual, right? It's about escalation. More specifically, guys saying that I can get to a friendly place with a girl. We can go and we can have a nice conversation and we can get along, but I have trouble taking it to that other place. I have trouble taking it to a more sexual place. It always seems like it's out of my control, and sometimes if she's more forward in taking it there and she's a little bit more aggressive in it, then things are fine and things work out, right? But if that's not happening, more often than not, I have a little trouble taking it to a more romantic place, taking it to the place where I want it to go when I want it to go there, right? Can anyone here relate to that? Raise your hand, please. Good. So I'm speaking to something that you guys will enjoy hearing. Excellent. So it's a tough problem, right? Because on one hand, we know that it's our job to make the first move. Right? You know, women have been told their entire life, you don't make the first move. That's inappropriate, that's not classy, that's slutty, that's whatever. It's your job as a guy. If a guy's interested in you, he will make a move. If he's not, he won't. So you guys have heard this your entire lives. You know that it's your job to do something, right? But at the same time, we've been told our entire lives that being sexual is creepy, that being sexual is inappropriate, that being sexual is too aggressive, or it's just wrong. So we've kind of got this dichotomy, like, well, we're supposed to do this stuff, we know it, but we have no idea what the hell we're supposed to do or how we're supposed to do it. So that's why, more often than not, guys are telling me, Nick, I'm having trouble with this. And it's not their fault. I mean, it's a society that we're all born and raised into that filled us with all these mixed signals and messages about what the hell we're actually supposed to do with all of this, right? So what exactly are we supposed to do about this? That's what I'll be talking with you about. It's your job to make the move, right? You have to take it somewhere. And then whenever you say, well, when a girl is more forward, or she lets me know she likes me a little bit more, then I feel comfortable making the move. But what you're really saying is, I need her to make the first move for me. Like when she does it, then it's fine, but when she's not, I have trouble going there, right? I'm too afraid to make that move because I'm not sure how, or I don't want to do the wrong thing, I don't want to be creepy, I don't want to be inappropriate, I don't want to mess this thing up that's going so well. So I need her to do it for me. And as you guys know, the success rate on that is only so-so, right? Women learning that they're not supposed to do this stuff very rarely will be the ones to be more forward. And more often than not, you're having this friendly conversation that's not going anywhere, wondering if there could potentially be something with you and this girl, right? So it's your job to make the move. It's your job to take things to a more romantic place. When do you do this? One of the most common questions. It's really simple. When she's giving you those signals that she's getting excited, as Christians talk about, that she's getting a little more turned on. She's smiling a little bit brighter, her real smile. She's starting to talk more, contributing more to the conversation in those pauses that you're leaving for her to fill, right? She's turning towards you a little bit more. She's just getting a little more excited. Now, you have to be careful, right? Because these are the same signals that a girl will give you if she's interested in being friends with you. We all want stronger signals than that, but most girls won't do it. Why? They've been told they're not supposed to, right? So it can be tough. Every woman I've spoken to about this, they'll agree with me. Yeah, we get the exact same signals whether a girl's into us or whether they just want to be friends. It's still our job when we see that to take the risk and make a move and go for it. She might just want to be friends. We might have misread it. Still our job to go for it and find out. Because if she is interested, 9 times out of 10, that's the only way that we're going to get anywhere. So how do you do that? The secret here, the secret in this tightrope, the secret in these mixed signals that we're getting and everything else, is to make more subtle movements that to the majority of people don't look like anything whatsoever and that can never get you called out for being inappropriate. You know what I'm talking about, right? So that if she likes you and she's into you, she'll respond more powerfully and she'll let you know that she likes that and she wants you to continue to go further, right? But if she's not into it, you'll see she gets a little bit more uncomfortable. She pulls away a little bit. She stops those signals that let you know she was into you. You let you know she's not interested in anything further right now at this point in time for whatever reason, right? And then you didn't do anything inappropriate. What are you talking about? You're just being friendly. Can't get called out on anything. Completely scot-free. So that's really the secret, and that's what I'm going to be talking with you guys about. How to take things to a sexual level because you have to, because it's your job, and how to do so in a way that will never get you flagged for being inappropriate, creepy, awkward, or anything else, right? So a lot of confusion. Most guys think when it's time to get sexual, they think, what do I do? What do I say? I got to do something or I got to say something. But getting sexual at its roots, it's nothing more than an expression of appreciation. And I'll say that again. Getting sexual at its root is nothing more than you expressing the fact that you appreciate this person in front of you in a special way. Right? It's letting them know you appreciate the way they look, the way their hair is kind of shiny and falls on their neck, the way the clothes kind of hug their body, showing off their feminine form, creating feelings inside of you when you look at it. I mean, the feminine form is made by nature, God, whatever, to inspire these natural positive feelings in us. I mean, in a lot of Middle Eastern cultures, women are forced to cover themselves head to toe because it's believed that feminine form is too much for men and it'll drive them into hysterics or whatever. Whereas in our culture, we're bombarded with the feminine form all the time, but we've been taught those feelings are wrong, those feelings are inappropriate, don't feel them, just be friendly, don't push that out of the way, be professional as possible, right? That's how you get a girl to like you. You guys know how well that works out, right? But there's still these feelings going on in our bodies when we see a woman, particularly a woman who we have some sort of chemistry with that sets off a little extra something that makes our heart beat faster. It creates these natural positive emotions, right? And so the real secret to getting sexual, the real secret to getting more romantic, escalating, is simply to allow her to feel the feelings that she's naturally creating in your body, allowing her to feel the turn on, just showing your appreciation to her, just showing the fact that you love how she makes you feel when you're around her. So at its very core, that's all escalation. That's all getting sexual is. So how do you do this? Right? Once again, it's got to start and end with the feeling in your body. If you're in your head thinking, what do I do? How do I get sexual? The whole thing is going to feel analytical. right? But if you're in your body, feeling the feelings that you've got going on, right, it's going to create a different vibe in the interaction. For example, if I look at you guys and I'm thinking platonically, and I'm talking to you like a good friend, right? Very platonic, no appreciation, no sexual tint whatsoever. I'm just talking to you guys about this, that, right? Stuff I like, sports, cars, guy stuff. But now, if I take a moment, and maybe there's a woman around that can help this process a little bit, and I feel more that turn on in my body, I feel more of that tingling in my chest, that natural God-given feeling. Now when I look at you, now when I'm talking, there's a very different feeling to it, right? There's a very different vibe in the air. Where I could say to someone, what did you have for breakfast? I'm serious. What'd you eat for breakfast? What's so funny? Huh? You afraid to tell me? You embarrassed? Like, what am I talking about? Am I talking about breakfast right there, or am I talking about sex, thinly veiled as a breakfast discussion? That's the thing about getting more romantic. That's the thing about getting more sexual, is that its root, you don't need to say anything, don't need to do anything, because it starts off with this feeling right here in the vibe that you're creating. And notice there's nothing inappropriate about this. This is just flirting. If you ever wanted to know what flirting was, you were ever curious about the definition of flirting, it's simply communicating with someone with this subtext. It's communicating with this someone with the subtext of, I'm into you. I like talking to you. It feels good when I'm talking to you. I want to do it more. That's all flirting is. But notice you can never be called out for anything inappropriate. Right? The waitress brings me my pancakes. Those pancakes look delicious. Thank you. Is anybody going to say, you're being creepy, you're being inappropriate, or you're just being charming and charismatic? Right? You need to start, very, very first and foremost, interjecting that natural desire, that appreciation, that sexuality into your interactions, no matter what you're talking about, no matter what you're saying. Two people could be sitting at a dinner party, right? And they're flirting. Like, anybody who's watching them like knows that they're going to hook up at some point or another, just looking at each other, smiling, laughing. But all the guys who don't know about this, they're looking at this and they're thinking, like, what is he saying? Like, what is he doing to get this response out of her, right? He's not saying anything. Their conversation's boring. Like, how did he do that? They're just talking about the weather. Why is she looking at him like that? He must have done something before dinner. He must have done something back there. That's what it is. You can't figure it out. It's so confusing. What is he doing? What did he say? It doesn't matter what you say. The only thing that matters is, can she feel the fact that you're getting turned on by her, that you're enjoying her company? Right? When she smiles really big, are you just soaking it in and enjoying it? Are you in your head worrying about what you're going to say next? If you're in your head worried about anything, it's going to feel analytical, it's going to feel awkward, it's going to feel platonic. Your interaction's going to go straight to the friend zone every single time. But if I'm speaking to a woman like this, now how did you ever get into that situation? When I'm feeling more sexual in my chest, the words that come into my brain naturally have a more sexual tint to it. They're going to be more laden with innuendo. If I'm trying to think how to be sexy, the only words that are going to pop in my head are boring and analytical. All right, so it starts and ends with the feeling in your body. If you're not communicating, and it's not always easy if you're not used to it. If you're more used to repressing those feelings around girls you like because you think it's inappropriate, actually being there and actually allowing her to feel it full on when you're speaking to her can take some practice. And in my workshops we really work on it and drill it. But you don't need to do that. All right? So it starts and ends with the feeling when you're interacting with her. And then there's some other things you can kind of also do to speed up this process. So for that, I'd like to invite Alex back up to the stage. Another round of applause for Alex. There will be more invasion of personal space right here, so she deserves the round of applause. So, first and foremost, it has to start off with the look in your eyes. If she can't feel the fact that you're excited to talk to her, that you appreciate what she's doing, and that you enjoy it when she smiles like that, you might as well not do anything else. It just stops and ends right there. But I'm flirting with her. As I do that, she responds a little more stronger to me. She turns towards me and giggles a little bit more, right? When that happens, where two people are in this moment, and then there's that chemistry brewing between, and once again, it's got to come from you, right? As a man, you have to typically be the source of this. You have to be the one to set this in motion. When you're in the zone with a girl and there's this chemistry and there's this flirtation, one of the other things that happens if you're really paying attention to the way you're feeling is there's just going to be a natural draw between you and the other person. You're just going to feel like you want to be closer to them. You're just going to feel like just touching them, even a little bit, like just sends tingles through both of your body. Right? And that's what happens when two people are attracted to each other. It feels good when you touch. You can't help it. It's one of those wonderful, amazing life things. So when you're in that moment, physical escalation, touching, getting more physical sexually. It's another thing guys have a lot of questions. How do I do it? How do I do it right? How do I not do it wrong? Sexual escalation, when done perfectly, is nothing more than you, once again, just expressing the fact that you want to be closer to her, that it feels really good when you guys touch each other, that you just want to break this space that's there between the two of you. And once again, if you're in your head thinking about, well, what way do I touch her that will turn her on the most? It's going to feel super analytical, like a doctor's appointment, right? But if you're really connected to the feeling in your body, and you're touching her in a way that feels amazing for you, that you just can't help, that you're drawn to, then it's going to feel great for her too. So I'm going to talk quickly about some of the more specific things that I do when I'm attracted to a woman. When I find myself in that moment where we have chemistry and I want to be closer to her. These are just some of the ways that my own natural sexuality expresses itself. These are some of the ways that my own personality combines with my sexuality to do what I do. Now when you do it, these should just be guidelines for you. Okay, just use this as these are the ways that my body likes to be closer to a girl when I'm attracted to her. But for you, these are just guidelines. Like try them out to get a feel for it if you're not comfortable doing these things, to see the positive responses. At first, if you're doing this right, you'll be terrified to do it and think this girl's going to reject you if you do it. But then you do it, you see they just light up like never before. And then it starts to feel good. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Right? So just use these as guidelines, but as you get more comfortable, as you do this more, then it's going to look a little bit different. You'll be doing different things, touching in different ways. Just guidelines. All right? So we're going to start off with, once again, ways that will allow you to express your interest, express that appreciation, express that attraction that you have, but also can't be called out for being inappropriate in any way whatsoever, because those are great. So first thing that I'm going to do is, we talk about this in Fearless. Christian talks about this. When you're talking to someone, you're just going to be moving closer and moving further away when you're speaking. Whenever you move one human body next to another one, heart rates rise. Whenever you move them away, it dissipates and it makes her want to come closer to you and act in that way. Perfect. So,
Hey Nick,
yes.
would you mind turning this way a little bit so
Yeah.
I can also see your face?
Oh yeah, good call. Good call. So, then this is just, hey, it's loud in here in this place. I can't hear you very well. I do this with all my friends, just casual, I call this hand checking, just creates a little bit of physical contact right there, which creates intimacy. This is just normal stuff that I do with my friends, right? But we're flirting, she's opening up, and I want to see, does she want to be friends or is she interested in something more, right? So the next time I lean in, I might just get an extra inch closer, right? I'm going to get my cheek right there next to her ear, and she'll be able to feel my breath down the back of her neck a little bit. Now, it's only an inch, and it could just be an accident, right? You lean in too close, and she pulls away a little bit. Oh, I just accidentally went too far. It's loud in here. I've been doing this already. What's an extra inch? But that extra inch makes a big difference in terms of the feeling in your body, right? If you're paying attention to the way you're feeling, then just moving that extra inch closer creates a much more tumultuous experience. And even, I'm sure as you're watching, me talking to her like this versus me talking to her like this. Just kind of raises the tension in the room a little bit. Might send some goosebumps down the back of her neck, creates a tingling in our bodies that feels good. And once again, if she's uncomfortable, she'll pull away, and I'll pull back, and I'll keep all my further things just nice and friendly from then on. What are you talking about? We're just pals. Get it straight. Get it straight. Don't get any funny ideas. I don't know what you're talking about. Once again, I'm flirting, but she can't do anything about it. Call me inappropriate, because I'm just talking about breakfast. Okay?
Yeah.
We need to take a quick break. It's all right. So, one of the next things that I'll do, it's very subtle, can't get called on for it. You place your hands to your side. That's normal. When I lean in, I just let my hand graze against hers. Hands carry a lot of nerve endings in them. They're very, very sensitive. And once again, if you're feeling in your body, it should create a nice little tingle up your arm when you guys brush hands. But once again, was that an accident when I'm just leaning in to talk? Was that on purpose? I don't know. Nobody can tell me one way or the other. But if she pulls her hand away a little bit, probably more interested in being friends. If she keeps her hand right there, then she probably wouldn't mind if I played around a little bit. And once again, all the nerve endings in a hand, like hand holding is one of the most flirtatious, sexy things in the world. Right? You want to hold hands. It's a beautiful thing. And once again, if you're really paying attention to how you feel when you're attracted to this girl, it feels amazing. So, one other thing I might do to test the waters is I'm leaning in, instead of resting my hand on the arm, oops, all of a sudden it rested on the hip instead. This is a very sensitive area, right, for any human being. And so once again, as I lean in and my hand accidentally falls right there, you're going to get a sense for how she feels about you. If she stays there, that's probably a good sign. If she tenses up, moves away, okay, we're just friends, right? No harm, no foul. Brilliant. So let's say that she likes my initial signals. Let's say, get closer, she smells nice, and just hang out there, playing around with the hands, it feels good, back of the hand. What are some ways that I might take it to the next level? And now this is important right here, because every girl has different levels of boundaries for what she wants. Every girl wants different things. Don't make the mistake of projecting on a girl, oh, she's not that kind of girl. Like, don't put her on some porcelain tower and say that she's like this because you can't handle the reality of what she really wants, right? Every woman's got different boundaries, and it's your job to find out where those boundaries are, right? Because you're a guy, you desire her, you want to be next to her, you want to be close to her. She knows it, everybody in the world knows it, right? But if you're too afraid to express that, if you're going to hold yourself back because in your head thinking you're not supposed to do this or that, then she's going to start to wonder, is this guy really into me, or is he just kind of going through these motions? She's going to wonder, does this guy not have the confidence to express his true desire for me? Either way, her attraction's probably going to be falling. So it's your job to push things forward until you find out where her boundaries are, and then wherever they are for that particular day / night, you just kind of swim around in a happy place around them. So, say we're getting close and talking, and so she likes this. Another thing I might do, if she likes that, is an open palm on the hip. Now this is very intimate. If a girl is letting you do this, it's about as positive a sign as you could possibly imagine, right? But let's say that this is a little too much, so she gets uncomfortable there, but everything up to it so far was good. Great. I'm just going to swing. I'm then going to be swimming with a closed hand, with a hand, with the closed. I'll do that for the rest of the night. Maybe test this out a little bit later, but I'm going to respect those boundaries wherever they are, and I'm just going to swim around and play around in that area. A woman will always respect a guy who pushes to find out wherever her boundaries are and then respects those boundaries. She will not have any patience or respect for a man who's too afraid to find that out. It's your job. So, you might use the open palm, and if you just move your hip, and just moving the hip just a little bit like this. A very sexy, very dominant, very powerful move that 99 out of 100 women love. Right? You can put your arm around her and just pull her ever so gently towards you, but you don't want to do this for too long. You want to make sure to keep the in and out, the dance going. Otherwise, if it's just on too much, it'll start to become, it'll overheat, it'll just become awkward. And if you're too far away, it's going to fizzle. But as you're coming closer, leaning further away, and once again, you have to, smelling your hair, and you have to just be connected to your body, feeling how amazing it feels to be next to this person. It happens. Don't worry about it. And then when you're right here, and you notice as you're leaning in and you're coming out, your bodies just get closer and closer every single time. You can play with the hands a little bit. It's a little nervous for her to look at me because it's intense. There's a lot of feelings right here. But when you're right here, and she's actually comfortable enough to look you in the eyes because you didn't just meet 5 minutes ago. And you're coming in close. You're pulling out.
Nick,
Talking. When you're at this point right here, she's looking at you. It's almost impossible for like a kiss not to happen. Your faces are closed. I'm not going to kiss you. I don't know you. You're a stranger. Don't worry. Right? Sometimes I might test it out. If I'm not sure, we're here, but I'm not sure exactly how she feels, I might go for a cheek kiss. So, right there. I'm going to keep my face around. If she keeps her face there and her face around after a cheek kiss, and she's not turning away right now, if she's giving me that signal, I would not kiss her whatsoever right there. It's okay. But if we're right here, then it's impossible for a kiss not to happen. So that's all physical escalation is. That's all sexuality is in general. It's once again feeling that desire you have in your body, allowing her to feel that, expressing that need or that desire to get closer to her and how amazing that feels as you do so. And then finding out where her boundaries happen to be in and just enjoying yourself along the way. Thank you. Another big round of applause. You earned that round of applause. So that's getting sexual. That's what you need to do most of the time if you are interested in a woman and you want it to go someplace. Right? And I'll say right now, if you're sitting right here, if you're watching this, your ability to judge when a girl is into you and she wants you to do this stuff, it's probably terrible. No offense or anything, but if I were to bet money on your ability to gauge how into a girl is into you and then take the appropriate actions, I would be keeping all my money to myself. But, so, for a general rule, if a girl's still talking to you 2 to 3 minutes into a conversation, start taking some of these moves. Trust me on that one, and when you see how positively she responds, despite you being terrified, that's when you start to change on the inside. That's when you say, oh, women like this. This is what I'm supposed to do. This feels really good. I can't believe it's this freaking easy. Any questions? Yes?
What if we're sitting down?
If you're sitting down, I think you should be the one to demonstrate. It's the same thing, right? It's loud in here, so I'm talking, right? Friendly thing I do with any guys, analytical, but then, once again, you're talking. That's so crazy. How did that ever happen? Really? It's like the dinner party. 2 people are sitting across from the table. Everybody knows they're going to hook up. Do they need to touch each other? No, but it also doesn't hurt. So I can, once again, just friendly, platonic. I can let my hand rest on her leg like that. Oops, was that an accident? I don't know. Can always get a little bit closer, that extra inch. right? I could touch on the side, all this intimate area in here, around the back, my hand on the hip. How can I not get more physical in this situation is the question, right?
Right.
All you want to do is express, I want to be on you. That's it. You can do that anytime, anywhere, right?
Right.
Answered your question?
Thank you. Yes.
My pleasure. Round of applause for him coming up here. Other questions? I was that good. I was that thorough and concise. I have a tendency of doing that. Any questions?
I guess one thing that I'll be talking about this tomorrow. Maybe you can talk about it, like on a first date, right? Because this is what we've been demonstrating is in bar.
Sure.
So on a first date, perhaps.
Great. On a first date, this is great. On a first date, you have to do this. You must. Like in a bar, you're wondering, well, is she into me? Is she not? Should I be moving things forward? Should I stay back? And of course, you can do that without anybody. You can push things forward without ever getting called out for it, right? But in a bar, it's a little bit more of a crapshoot. On a date, though, you have to start taking things sexual because she likes you already. She's going on a date with you. You don't need to wait and wonder for some super strong signal that she's into you to start making your move. You don't have to spend the first half of the date trying to get her to like you all over again. Right? She already likes you. You have to start getting sexual. So when a woman's speaking with you, she doesn't care how much you have in common. She doesn't care like how funny your joke is. All she cares about is how does this feel? Does it feel sexy? Does it feel exciting? Is there this energy? Or does it feel friendly? Or does it feel flat? Does it feel platonic? If it's the latter, you will not get another date. So from the first second of your date, essentially, you need to be flirting. You need to be turning up the appreciation. You need to be turning up the expression of the fact that you're feeling turned on from her body. When you get close to her to give her a hug, you want to let it linger for an extra second because you actually enjoy being next to her. Once again, you've got to be connected to that feeling in your body, right? And then you maybe sit across from the table. Always try to sit next to a person if I can, just to initiate a lot of the physical stuff that we had right here. But even if it's across the table, you can reach out, take her hand, play with her hand, make that connection. The thing is, though, on a date, it's your job. You really have to take things forward, do it aggressively, confidently, because you're not going to get a second shot after that. She's on a date. There's no time. There's no other time. So you have to push things on. Find where her boundaries are, wherever they happen to be. Every single girl's different. Swim around in them for that particular evening. Good. Any other questions? Tired? Oh, yeah.
I believe we were speaking towards bar situations or after you've met the girl. How early should you start physically escalating?
2 to 3 minutes. Like I said, I'm already getting in close and doing the hand checking with anyone and everyone, guys, girls, because it's loud, and that's how confident people communicate and make other people feel great, right? But 2 to 3 minutes, especially in a bar, because girls go out to bars to meet guys. It's why they're there. It's one of the few places on earth that have just been created to encourage social interaction among strangers. So more often than not in a bar especially, if you're not pushing this forward faster, like she's going to look for a guy that will, because that's what she's there for in the first place. And if she's not feeling turned on and sexy, like, why is she talking to you, right? So yeah, very, very early on in the interaction, especially in a bar, if I'm getting those signals. But once again, those first moves that I'm making are completely appropriate and can never be called out for being inappropriate. So it's no harm, no foul, and me just checking, testing the waters, seeing if she likes it or not, right? Good question.
What about with day game? Should you also wait a little bit longer before introducing that?
With day game, no, you shouldn't wait a little bit longer before introducing it. But with day game, people aren't drinking. So their physical barriers are a little bit more dictated by, I need my space. Whereas in the bar, people have a couple drinks and they want to be closer to people. So during the day game, I'm still going to be moving closer to someone when they're speaking or when I want to share something. I'm still going to move back to give them space to talk more, come more to me. I'm still going to be hand checking and all that other stuff. But what's more important, but I can't do all the physical stuff that we just did here in a bookstore, right? It's slightly inappropriate. And so I'm still going to be flirting. I mean, earlier on in my interaction, it's you know, I'll have just a light touch of flirtation. Is that right? Have you ever seen this book before? Weird. That's really cool, right? And then if she starts to open up, I'll let that intensify. Huh. No way. That's really awesome. Where did you ever find that? But with daytime, like you said, the physical stuff, you can like inch closer, but there'll be like a little bit more of a gap than a bar where they're right next to each other. And so the only other way you do that in daytime is you get a phone number. Because that's all a phone number is saying, I like you and I want to see you again, right? It's just telling the girl, I would like to spend more time with you. And often, if you don't go for the phone number, she's going to wonder what was wrong with me. I thought we had a nice interaction. He must not have been interested. Maybe he had a girlfriend, maybe whatever. So just going for the phone number in those daytime situations says about as much as you can say without alcohol kind of helping you out more. Does that answer your question? Cool. Any others? This is it. Cool. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you very much for your time.